Okay, hello everybody. Welcome. We're doing a Galaxy Grudge Match commentary. Me and Ribbit here. Hello, hello Ribbit.
Hello there.
We're talking about an iconic episode in Galaxy Grudge Match history: Sheldon Lee Cooper versus Maurice Moss. An episode that's gone down as an episode that me and Ribbit liked making a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we're doing a whole commentary track here. We want to do some more commentaries for Galaxy Grudge Match, just because we like to talk about we like talking about these episodes. We watch them a lot. So
There's a lot to talk about with each of them.
yeah, I remember for Sheldon versus Moss, it actually originally the idea was that I wanted to use Sheldon, it's not just because it's funny to goof on Big Bang Theory. But also, I just had a wealth of knowledge of Big Bang Theory stored in my head.
Yeah.
Because I watched so much of it. Like growing up, it was always just on, and I was like, "Oh, Big Bang Theory, I love it." And I would fucking fall asleep to Big Bang Theory this season, a season of Big Bang Theory. I'd fall asleep to it, so I have it ingrained in my fucking head.
Yeah.
Ribbit, do you remember how what went down, how this episode came to be?
Okay, so I watched a good amount of Big Bang Theory as well. I wouldn't call myself a massive fan of it, but I did watch it when I was little a lot. So the idea of Sheldon on Galaxy Grudge Match wasn't something that I initially thought would just be would be too out of left field. But Ducker was against it because of how shitposty it sounded. Because Big Bang Theory is kind of a meme at this point. People kind of just goof on it. It's
the idea though was that I still actually kind of like Big Bang Theory, so it wasn't going to be completely ironic. I like Sheldon. I find him a funny character. So it wasn't completely shitposty, which sort of, I guess, helped with it actually being created.
Yeah, when we were discussing it, Ducker was against it, but then I brought up the idea. I can't tell if it was me. Maybe it was Max.
It was you.
Okay,
no,
yeah.
It was you.
Oh, actually, at the time, people didn't know what the IT crowd was. So
yeah,
it would
I had
have
not
to be
seen
me.
the IT crowd yet.
Yeah, I said maybe Moss versus Sheldon could be fun. Moss from the IT crowd, and Ducko. I don't know if Ducko had seen the IT crowd, but he knew that it was one of my favorite TV shows, and at that point, Ducko was a bit more favorable towards it because he knew that because I think he was expecting us to pull out Sheldon versus another shitpost character, but
it was originally my fucking dumbass shitpost idea. I was what if it's Sheldon versus Rick Sanchez?
Yeah, okay.
They get into an argument. Who concedes first?
Yeah, you can see why Ducko would be a little wary about that. But Maurice Moss.
But then it became this.
Yeah, the IT crowd for years now has been one of my favorite shows, if not my favorite. I love the IT crowd, and Moss
is a really funny show.
Moss is the main reason for that. He is my favorite character, bar none, and I really like the idea of debating for him. So we tried to think of a scenario. And the first one we came up with was Independence Day. But the issue with that is that it was just that they would both do it. It was just kind of
They just had these hacking stuff.
Yeah, which both of them could reasonably do considering their areas of expertise. So we thought about it, and
we had this much better idea. We looked to the Adam Sandler film Pixels, a movie that me and Ribbit had both seen. And since Adam Sandler is also sort of an inside joke that Duck was actually into, I think he was okay with Pixels, and that sort of just became this.
Yeah. I think the fact that
I think it was a very debatable match like this.
Yeah, from the beginning, I kind of had this idea in the back of my mind, I think Sheldon is probably going to end up winning. It's a longer show, there's more media to cover, and I think the Big Bang Theory gets a little wackier, but I was shocked. Moss did end up winning one of the games, and he did end up tying with Sheldon in the final one, I believe.
Yeah,
but
it got very tricky.
Yeah.
This was me and Ribbit spent a long time trying to discuss the verdict of this one.
Yeah, which I'm very happy about. Because actually, this episode got two of my friends into the IT crowd, you and Biff Weed.
Oh, yeah. I watched IT crowd in preparation so that I could debate against him. And I actually just fucking wound up loving it. I watched it all the way through twice. Later I just watched it again because it's a very manageable series. There's not too many episodes.
Yeah, British...
I like my fucking gag here. This is my favorite gag.
Oh, the start of your debate, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was funny.
Bazinga!
I remember when I wrote my Moss debate, I used stuff from the IT Crowd DVD menus, and I'll be honest, those debates were primarily me just trying to flex.
You're flaunting that. I got the IT Crowd.
I went deeper than ever. There was actually a game, an IT Crowd game online apparently, where they like fight off computer things or something, but I just couldn't find it, so I was like, okay, I can't use this in my debate. That's a shame. It maybe could have helped. I think even with
the fighting stuff, the games weren't being included for this, like, actually. We were just making them up as goofs.
Yeah. That was less so like a DVD menu. It was just like a game on the website, and I wasn't sure if that was, if it could be used, and I still have no idea. I haven't actually been able to find the game, so I have no idea if it would have worked or not. Probably wouldn't have. It probably would have been able.
What I like about this episode compared to our last episode, Alvin versus Muse, is that with Alvin versus Muse, I was debating for Alvin pretty much fully ironically, but with Sheldon, surprisingly, even though like I do think Alvin and the Chipmunks is probably better material than Big Bang Theory, but I actually had an affection towards the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
And I grew affection towards Alvin and the Chipmunks after the episode, because I think I saw this video that someone had made that was talking about the cartoon, and like it brought back memories of the cartoon that I used to watch a lot as a kid. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I should have debated for Alvin after seeing that. But here, I was a lot more happy with it.
I'm about equally happy with both episodes, and it's because I think I have more jokes in Alvin vs. Muse that I'm really happy with, but at the same time, my mic in Alvin vs. Muse Part 1 is really bad, and that makes Part 1 a little difficult to rewatch. I do come back to this one more often just because it's later on, and I think later Galaxy Grudge matches just from a visual perspective, and like I think we'd worked things out more.
That reminds me, this is the first episode that does this format, where it's full screen with this little barrier in the avatar in the bottom left.
Probably more dangerous as far as copyright goes, but it certainly looks a lot better.
It looks a lot better, and it was like just a spur of the moment decision. This was supposed to be just a normal style, but I was like, I'm getting really sick of this footage being very in the corner and hard to see. Mm-hmm. So I just once I was done editing the whole thing, I just made this swift decision to just put it like this, and I was much happier for it. Oh, young Sheldon!
Okay, Max, be honest. How much young Sheldon did you actually watch for this video?
None young Sheldon. I watched Big Bang Theory. I did not watch any young Sheldon.
I did watch because people were like, "Oh my god, did you know that the Big Bang Theory and Young Sheldon did a crossover?" And I'm like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
Shit! It's a big crossover because it's the same fucking series.
And it turns out there's actually just an episode where Sheldon stumbles across a bunch of old VHS tapes, and on them is Young Sheldon, and I'm like, "Okay, I think this is really."
Here, Sheldon of the future. Here's a little pep talk. You gotta try your best.
Well, that's quite enough of that. I like how Brandon brought up a young Sheldon point. That was one of his big points.
You know, I think this is actually the start, the ending of me editing every Galaxy Grudge match. Because I think after this was, Cuphead Mortal Kombat, which is when Biffweed and you edit that one.
Oh yeah, that one didn't have much from you. I think you might have edited one section.
I edited the second Cuphead debate.
Yeah, right.
Just because I was trying to move things along.
Yeah,
but after that was Teacher Royale, and since then we've all edited our own parts for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So this was my final hurrah, and in it I changed the format completely.
You certainly made it easier, I think.
Yeah, it looks better like this, and I like that. I like how later we get our own little drawings in the bottom left. I like that a lot better. Although here I couldn't draw myself as Max Bazinga.
Yeah, I probably would have just. I guess I would have just had to go the front.
You had to give yourself the hair.
Yeah, the afro and the glasses is what I could do.
The afro would have to have the fucking chunk taken out of it.
Oh yeah. Where he cuts like a quarter of it.
I love that. That's my favorite part of his design. Is the fucking his fucked up hair.
Max, he's a human.
Oh, that's my favorite part of his human design. Ooh, a classic prank. But this is the last one where I edited. I'm pretty happy that I watched IT Crowd beforehand, so I knew what to do.
Yeah.
I make Sheldon seem like a fucking psychopath by quoting the wiki like this.
Well, you know, I mean, he's not the most morally upright person.
Ah, there he is. He's so proud.
Yeah,
Oh, darn! I remember this.
Oh yeah.
This was a big meme, like that, was why we wanted to use Sheldon.
Well, I have a few issues with your argument. First of all,
Wrong.
Wrong. I think that was like the first thing I brought up when we started talking about Sheldon. Like that was like the scene I knew off the top of my head.
Yeah,
the
you were
Darth
thinking
scene.
like, I was gonna go Darth and want to destroy the planet. Oh no, it's Sheldon's I'm unhappy and I'm gonna destroy the planet music.
But that doesn't mean Moss is without his experience.
Oh, you know, I remember you had a really good trailer for Sheldon vs. Moss.
Oh yeah, where he used
You make it fucking intense.
Yeah, it was like the song from like the Pixels credits, maybe. It was something
Yeah,
like Pixels,
I think it was the Pixels credits.
Like
You can't block me.
I think I ran into that song and I was like, I really want to use this in a trailer, but like, what the fuck am I going to use it in? And like
the stars aligned.
Yeah, and like I'd say maybe like a month later, Sheldon versus Moss happened. I was like, oh, my time has come.
And that was the time to use the.
Yeah, to utilize the Pixel soundtrack banger.
You know, I've got all of the seasons of Big Bang Theory on DVD.
I have all the seasons of IT Crowd on DVD.
It was the perfect match. It was the perfect match.
I think mine might be less impressive because there's only 4 seasons of the IT Crowd, though.
Well, I may have been, exaggerating slightly because I actually have 2 seasons. There's 2 seasons that I don't have. I don't have 11 or 12.
How many seasons are there?
12. So I just missed the ending.
Oh, is season 12 the last season?
Yeah, that was the last.
Oh.
Oh, that's Howard.
Oh,
You know what I noticed? Okay, in this episode and Teacher Royale, and I guess I would also be Mortal Kombat Cuphead, I put the characters behind the Black Shadow, which does not look right to me. They have to be above the Black Shadow so you can fully see the design more.
Yeah, definitely better with them in front of it.
Yeah, I do that after Teacher Royale. I start putting them above it. Oh boy. I'm still really happy that we chose Pixels and sort of Galaxy Video goes on a bit of a Pixels binge because we also are doing we did Video Game Royale with Pixels Pac-Man.
Oh yeah, this was around the same time.
And in the Galaxy Video server for Match of the Week, we were doing fucking Pixels Invasion versus Independence Day, and some guy finally questioned, "What the fuck is up with Galaxy Video and Pixels?"
It's a classic. It's a great film.
It's a classic Sandler movie. There's Ludlow. I like this joke. Where Leonard's gonna make a very funny comment. A very snarky comment. That fits so well with the fucking Big Bang Theory style of humor.
Oh, he totally
You
would.
got it down, Pat. That he would just see Sheldon and oh, what a Sheldon.
I'm gonna be nice and snarky now. I remember
time for my quick wit to show Sheldon what for.
I think it was around this time because I watched some Big Bang Theory for this. I didn't watch the entire show, God no.
Ribbit, how could you not watch all of Big Bang Theory?
I don't think I could in a lifetime.
Well, Sheldon's excited. He's excited that you haven't watched all of Big Bang Theory, and therefore you don't know all the points that I do. That's why he's excited in that clip.
I know how it ends.
No!
The band who did the Big Bang Theory theme song called Bare Naked Ladies, I went to see one of their concerts.
Oh.
And they did the Big Bang Theory theme song there.
Oh, lit. Oh, perfect.
Yeah. And everyone fucking screamed. And
yes! Big Bang Theory!
I think they might have had Big Bang Theory shirts there. They're like, they were either Bazinga shirts or You're Sitting on My Spot shirts. One of the two.
Sheldon!
There's my. I think like twice in this episode, I very subtly flex the fact that I can do a half decent impression of Moss.
That reminds me of something in part 2, but I guess we'll get to that when we get to it when it comes to our impressions. There's
yeah.
The one game you suck at.
These were pretty long debates.
Oh yeah, these are like, how long? This is like a 20-minute episode, which is like, I think that's become pretty standard affair for part 1s, but it was usually, it's sort of the start of like longer part 1s, I think.
Mm.
AFK. I had a fucking hell of a time trying to find that fucking first-person shooter clip. I remember seeing the episode and I was like, I don't remember a fucking first-person shooter at all. And that's because it only happens for a split second.
Yeah, no, I've seen that episode. That's my favorite episode of the show, the fire episode. So
Yeah.
I know that one in and out. I think there was an IT crowd clip somewhere in here that was very specific, and you didn't include it. And when I was watching,
didn't?
I was like, yeah, it's pretty fair actually.
Oh, bazinga! I think some of my humor in this part 1 is like some of my better humor in first parts. I like the way I can exaggerate some of these lines.
I like your sections in this episode more. I think,
You have
than
great
Alvin
sections
versus
too,
Muse.
Ribbit.
No, I mean than in Alvin versus Muse. I mean, naturally, I prefer my opposition's parts because you're your own biggest critic at the end of the day.
I think we both really bring it all for this one, for this episode.
I think what I like about this episode and what I like about Galaxy Garage Match in general is that in the context of verses, I would never get to talk about Maurice Moss.
Oh, yeah, you would never talk about either of these two in normal verses.
Yeah, like, I think Moss's best feat is punching someone and knocking him out. That's his only feat I can think of. I think maybe he takes a couple of beatings, but nothing like superhuman.
Yeah.
So
I have researched Sheldon in a versus sense before. There isn't much.
Yeah, they're both humans at the end of the day, and like maybe above average humans, but still humans. What I love about Galaxy Garage Match is that it gives me the opportunity to talk about characters like Moss and like Muse, for that matter. That was another one that I was very.
You can talk
happy
about anything in Galaxy Garage Match, and that's what makes it so much fun. You can put them in all kinds of weird scenarios and just have fun with it. And I love that with Galaxy Garage Match. You could use a character again, and it would be a completely different argument.
Yeah. I think like as long as you're able to really mix up between the two episodes, like reusage here is a lot less tiring than it is on like say an actual versus show, because like they're analyzing the exact same thing, and realistically the only way that you can really mix that up is using a different version, or if they've like received a lot of media since you last used them. But like, if you just reuse them, like some versus shows do, where they use the same characters like 4 or 5 times, maybe even more, and there's like nothing new to talk about each time, that gets kind of boring.
Yeah. There's Monty.
There he is.
Fucking Monty. When it comes to military, here's him doing Darth Sheldon. Pixels. I came into the new decade watching Pixels. 2020, I came into it watching some fucking Pixels. It was the first movie.
I remember that. You were like, yeah, welcome to 2020. I'm watching Pixels. an excellent choice. I remember the scene. There's a scene where Jen says that like she's smoking 20 cigarettes a day or something, and then Moss calculates how many cigarettes that would be every leap year. Every decade, assuming that there's 2 leap years.
I think I just showed her like smoking outside.
Yeah, which it worked. It's just like that's the clip I was thinking of. It was really bugging me, but yeah, that was me digging to try and find like a feat of intelligence for Moss, which that is impressive. But I assume Sheldon is still better at mathematics.
Yeah. I guess, like, look at him. That's him staring at his fucking toilet.
Yeah, you've got the scene of him dropping his phone in the toilet when
I can
earlier he's just...
pinpoint so many of these scenes. Oh, at the end there, by the way, that was me trying to imitate Sheldon's laugh. I don't know what this is. What's your reference here? I forget.
Oh, wait, was that me going Galaxy Grudge?
Yeah.
In the final episode of the IT Crowd, Moss starts up an online show called Game Board, and they deliver the lines like, game board. I was trying to imitate that because that's just one of my favorite moments in all of IT Crowd. It had me rolling when I first saw it, but it didn't quite translate as well.
Part 2.
I think the good thing about a lot of these episodes, I remember. Oh, don't worry. Biff Weed, he made like a Galaxy Grudge match, like the first 12 episodes reviewed, and he there he is knocking, and
I like this joke too, where you get pissed off at my penny.
Yeah. I am prone to getting pissed quite often. I'm quite an angry person.
Ribbit is known for being quite the hothead.
Yeah, Biff Weed made a review, and he said something that really made me happy about this episode. He said, like, when you watch the episode, you don't even notice that they're jokes, that they're references to the show, but like when you've actually
looks like we're being weird.
Yeah, when you actually have seen the show, you appreciate the episode more because like we slid in all these references, and that was like and like the Galaxy Grudge match, like the Grudge is one of the only ones where I think that doesn't quite.
I'm happy that they can like mix like that. Like these jokes still work without context, but they're even better if you know the show. Yeah, because that's really good to hear.
Yeah. I'm really glad that people liked this episode. It wasn't like I think it might actually be the least popular episode of Galaxy.
Yeah, like nobody really talks about it, but it's just warmly received. I think people are like, "Oh, that was a fun episode."
I'm yet to meet someone who disliked it, and like even like and the fact that it got friends into it, even Brandon, who I know to not like watch many sitcoms, I think he like watched some IT Crowd clips, and he thought that Moss seemed really likable. So I got two people into the IT Crowd, and I got someone to at least come out appreciating Moss as a character, and I really do like Moss. Like Sheldon's fun, but like I was so happy I was able to talk about Moss.
When it comes to Sheldon, when I really sat down and watched Big Bang Theory, I grew even like way more attached than I thought I would to Sheldon. There's actually a significant amount of moments where I got emotional for Sheldon. As weird as it sounds to get emotional about Big Bang Theory, they can get emotional.
The IT Crowd doesn't actually have many emotional moments, or there are a few.
Nice ending. The ending is pretty nice.
Oh, I remember the ending really getting to me. Like, I think like the ending is just like they become like the heads of Random Industries, and Moss like walks out of the room and he looks back, and then like the show ends with him flicking the light switch off, and that really got me. Oh god, it's over.
They both have good endings. Like Big Bang Theory, for as flawed as the show is one of the better shows to like when it comes to endings.
I think you'll find that How I Met Your Mother has the best ending.
How I Met Your Mother is my favorite sitcom, but it has one of the worst endings to any of them. They fucking suck.
Both actually end up like being really successful at the end of their series. Like Sheldon is a Nobel Prize winner, and Moss owns one of the biggest like companies in all of London. Like they both hit it big at the very end of their series.
Like I've always had a really soft spot for Big Bang Theory, even though I goof on it. Like whenever you grow up with a show, it's hard to let go of it. And with Big Bang Theory, I just get a lot of comfort in watching it. It's so simple. I know the jokes are fucking shitty sometimes, but I like them. They're fun.
I mean, I'll be honest. I actually do quite like The Big Bang Theory. It's not like one of my favorite sitcoms, but like it like you said, it's very comfortable to watch, and I do have to watch it sometimes because my granddad loves The Big Bang Theory, and for Christmas one year we got him Big Bang Theory Top Trumps. And
what's a Top Trumps?
Top Trumps is a card game where like you have a character or something, and it has like a bunch of stats beneath it, and you have to say oh, this stat is a 3, but then if your opponent who hasn't shown you their card has a stat of 4, you have to give them your card.
Oh, I can tell you're Stewart. You're Stewart. You gotta be Stewart.
Wait, what?
I don't know. I couldn't understand the game. I thought it was a guess who's who.
No. It's just who has the stack at the end, basically. And the Big Bang Theory one isn't characters, it's scenes. And these, and my personal favorite card is the ball pit scene. The ball pit scene has its own card, and because every single card has a Bazinga level. And the ball pit scene is the only one to have a full 100. That's the most Bazinga-filled scene. Which, I mean, fair enough. He does say Bazinga quite a few times in that scene.
It's his. Yeah, he says it over and over again to Leonard, who's just not having it.
Oh, yeah, Leonard was a bit pissed.
I like Big Bang Theory, but I don't think I ever want to watch Young Sheldon. Young Sheldon does not seem like my fucking show.
Young Sheldon really strikes me as like the Big Bang Theory was going to end soon, so they needed something.
We still need the money. We still need the money.
Exactly, and like none of the cast members were still doing it, so hey,
I think the only appropriate thing to do is if we have a spiritual successor to this, and it's O from Home versus Paul from the film Paul. The Sheldon alien, and then British comedians dealing with an alien. There you go. See, it's perfect. As you can tell.
I was about to say, did Richard Ayoade play?
No, I thought for a second he had, but I was like, wait, no, I'm wrong. This is just like the Shaun of the Dead people are in that movie.
Yeah, I've actually been watching a lot of stuff with Richard Ayoade. He has a book called Ayoade on Top, and it's such a good book. There's like this really shit Gwyneth Paltrow film where like she wants to be a flight attendant or something. It's just a really obscure, really shit film that she did ages ago, and Richard Ayoade wrote an entire book analysing this movie like it's one of the greatest films of all time. And I'm like, that is the sort of shit that we would do.
What we'd fucking do, yeah. We'd do it about like fucking Pixels.
Like, act like a really shit film is fucking fantastic and talking about all the intricacies of it. I'm like, that is amazing.
Ooh, first comment for Sheldon, alright.
That bright red. Oh yeah, Brandon was like, Sheldon has dreamed about being in video games. I was like,
you know what I noticed about this episode?
He researched young Sheldon for this. Yeah. What did you notice?
Like, a lot of people, like, they didn't know Moss, but they knew Sheldon, and that's why they voted for Moss. Like, they're like, okay, I know Sheldon cannot do this. Like, people were like really thinking Sheldon's not prepared.
It was. I remember Biff and Adam had that angle. I believe the thing is that with Moss, I remember the people who knew Moss were very happy to see him, but very few actually knew who Moss was. So basically, the reaction to it was they're using Sheldon Cooper. Oh god, they're using Sheldon Cooper, and also a man with really nice hair.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing to do. With like things where you would expect it to be a huge joke, like with Sheldon Cooper, is to just take it dead ass seriously. It's always so fun to just do it like that. And you're like, oh, when is he gonna when is he gonna go full ham on the memes? But it just doesn't happen. It's like, no, come on, we love it.
I remember there was kind of a similar vibe in Muse vs. Alvin in the sense that like Alvin and the Chipmunks aren't really much of a meme. People don't like that film, but Muse is actually a big meme in the Siva Gunner community. And Ducko's comment was basically saying like they would get Fred Flintstone and stuff to come and help them, but like throughout the entire episode, I tried to play it dead straight because I do really like Love Live, and this was a very similar instance where like we so easily could have copped out for easy laughs to be ironic, and like ironic laughs, I mean they're funny, but they are so easy to get, and I think we really. Referencing these specific scenes, but not referencing the really shit-posted scenes, I suppose.
These jokes, they age like a fine wine.
Exactly. And I think like if you just kept on saying Bazinga over and over and over and over again with no...
It would just suck.
With nothing else, yeah, that would have sucked. But like the time you do say Bazinga, you say it exactly how Sheldon says it in the show, where he like tricks people into like feeling a certain way, and then he completely pulls the wool over their eyes and goes Bazinga, and I'm like, yeah, that works a lot.
That's how Sheldon would do it.
Exactly. Like, it feels like, you know, you have a genuine understanding of the character. If you just said Bazinga a bunch of times, that would really just have the vibe of, I've watched some Big Bang Theory, and I know Sheldon says that, so...
I always prefer seeing like videos that have effort. Even April Fool's videos, when they have like a weird amount of effort in them, that's when I think they're the funniest. Like, oh, you really spent your time trying to make this shitty fucking shitpost.
Yeah, when I see an April Fool's episode that is just like a really, like, it's clearly made like, it's made like a day or so, and like the creator's like, let's just shitpost a bit. Like, I'm like, okay, this was like, it's got a chuckle out of me, but I think it's way more fun to watch when like the joke of it is that it was just taken dead seriously. Like, the
that was my mindset. Yeah, Trickster versus Max Grabowski is my mindset while making that. Is to take it fucking dead seriously, but still have the two Maxes talk to each other, and like I never address it until the very end.
It still had that kind of irony level to it because of all the comments and like the fact that Max Grabowski won when he very much should not.
He got his true win in the Henry Evans episode of Multiverse Match.
Oh yeah, that's a great episode. And there was also Tim versus Michelle.
We tried to come up with a winner for that, but it was hard.
Yeah, that was a hard one because their stats are the same because they're humans.
Yeah, they're just people.
They're just human beings. So just like I mean, Michelle knows martial arts, probably wins.
I probably won't be doing a Max Grabowski Trickster commentary because that's just me talking to me, and it's not really. I don't know if that counts as Galaxy Grudge Match even.
Well, you should definitely just record yourself once and then play off of yourself like you did with Mario vs Sonic.
I'll just add a third Max to it.
Yeah, like you did with Mario vs Sonic, the 8 crazy fights. Like, plan it out like that. No.
Oh, this next comment's a bit of a doozy.
Oh yeah.
This person talking about how like all the shit Sheldon knows.
He met Stan Lee.
He met Stan Lee. Clearly the greatest video game expert known to man.
I once played Spider-Man 2. So
Excelsior!
I'm an expert. Excelsior.
You know, when he met Stan Lee called the cops on him. Like Sheldon invites himself into Stan Lee's house.
Well, I think that's well, time to put my hands in the air and say, yep, Sheldon wins. He met Stanley.
I love this image I chose for Sheldon, by the way.
He's just staring he's staring intently. I think Moss has like a really intense stare, doesn't he?
Yeah, Moss is like, no, Sheldon. And Sheldon's like, are you sure? Okay, since I know we're gonna get to it soon. The ending scenario, I remember in that, we've got like fucking, you voice, like you read the whole end scenario and you voice Moss, but you leave out voicing Sheldon.
Yeah, I tried to do a Sheldon voice and I listened to myself and I was like, oh, this is really cringy.
Can we get that little Sheldon for the viewers at home that never got to hear it? Can we get that Sheldon?
It's 1 a.m, Max. And that's gonna be my. And that I'm not gonna let my neighbors hear me.
It's a little bazinga.
I am not gonna let my neighbors wake up and go. Is that
Sheldon himself? Is that Sheldon?
Is that one of our neighbors doing an impression of Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang Theory next door?
What if they respect you more for it?
Well, you know, I wouldn't be able to respect myself.
So yeah, like what I did was I just record my Sheldon impression, which I wouldn't say is great, but like it gets the job done.
Well, you bring an energy to Sheldon that I can't bring.
I truly bring that Cooper energy.
Also, you do your Sheldon impression like 3 times in this episode, and I do my Moss impression like 3 times in this episode, so it only felt right. And I don't think it's like a terrible idea to have like Galaxy Grudge Match scenarios where like the other host comes in to voice certain characters just to differentiate them a little bit more. And, like, I think that could work in the right instances, provided like, you know, it's justified. But like there's a lot of characters or something, and I think like it's just. I think it also helps that you're American, so you can put the accent off a little better.
A British Sheldon Cooper.
British. I mean, that helps
this
with
is
my Moss impression.
This is back when we didn't shorten comments, I'm remembering. Nowadays, we shorten them.
I believe, actually, okay, I think this was the first episode where we shortened them, but like we didn't. The thing about around this time, we were worried about the comments being a bit cringy if we went too out there with them. So I think we were still trying to find our footing with how to properly balance them.
Yeah.
And I think nowadays, maybe occasionally we'll do a voice. Like I still do the Ducko voice for my Ducko comments, but like usually what we'll do is like we'll break mid comment or something and like that sort of stuff, which I think works a lot better.
I sort of like stopped with I sort of stopped with doing every single comment doing an impression of whatever the avatar was. So I think that could sometimes get cringy, but I think it's funny sometimes when it's like Ducko comments.
The Ducko comments are the only ones I'm alright with because, like, it's not like I'm trying really hard to do a Ducko voice. I'm literally just like speaking of which, like I'm just doing the fucking horrible Ducko impression that I've done for years. I think like back when I first met Ducko, it was like a month in. I did a Ducko impression, and Ducko was like, "Yeah, I sound a bit Russian," and I was like,
and you just steered into it.
And over time, it just gradually got less and less Ducko and more strange Russian man who happens to say some of the things that Ducko says.
I remember Ducko brings up fucking Family Guy in his comment here.
Yeah, this was an interesting... This is the only Ducko comment where I didn't really do much with it. I just kind of read it in Ducko's voice, which going back, I probably should have done something, because I like, as far as comment readings go, the ones I'm always the happiest with are the Ducko comments, but it was in this episode that we weren't too sure about making all the comments funny, and we were a bit worried about it being cringy, like I said. So
yeah, I guess that's why we had a little bit of restraint, because we didn't want it to be a cringe episode.
We played them all straight, and to an extent that might have saved us with some, but it also does mean that whenever I come back to this one, I always skip the comments. Like, there's nothing really much to listen to.
Oh, I generally prefer part ones in Galaxy Grudge Match. I think they're usually more entertaining. I like part twos because like there's a lot of host banter, but part ones always feel like a more polished with like the debates and how you can end debates with like in certain ways. It seems like there's a lot more you can do to me sometimes.
Part twos have a lot more than they can go wrong with, I think. Like, for example, the stretch rail. I'm gonna mention. If
hosts can't communicate well, part twos can be train wrecks.
Like the stretch rail part one it's not good, but it's fine. Like I can watch it because your debate is like it's kind of just an average Max debate. Oh. I'm gonna need to call back to this someday. Anyway, oh sorry, where was I? I got so sidetracked by Cookie Monster Family Guy.
And Carter Peterschmidt going, this is good.
Thank you, Carter Peterschmidt.
Oh, I love Big Bang Theory.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, right. Yeah, and the stretch rail part one is fine because yours and Ducko's debates are alright, and Huan's debate was clearly like a first debate for him, and as was Biffweed's. So like they both ran into first time problems, but there's nothing like particularly offensive in them. You know, I can still watch them without wanting to jump out the window. But like with part two, there's a lot more room for error. It can go wrong. Yeah, people have to bounce off each other, you know, people have to, they have to keep the episode entertaining, not just because they're talking about the characters and presenting their debates.
Because part twos are generally a little more dry, so you want to add more humor so that it catches up, I guess?
Yeah, exactly. Like, there needs to be interaction. That's why I think episodes like, what's a really good one that I think has a we're at the final play. We gotta get in all our last comments about Sheldon Moss in here. Yeah, okay. Very happy with it.
I am very happy with this episode. I think wait a minute, hold on. I think this actually does go on for a little bit. Yeah, okay, we still have a while for you to finish your thought, what you were saying a little bit earlier about what's the funniest episode.
I'll just say the Teacher Royale because that's the one I've watched the most.
It's a funny one.
Yeah, like that one has a lot of interaction, and it all works because we all like work together in unison. Because realistically, in the Teacher Royale, a lot of points just go over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
And that could really have become monotonous if it was done like the Stretch Royale, where like we all did it at different times and all that, and we like it all just wouldn't have quite worked nearly as well.
You know what I remember? I think this is the last episode where I have the hosts emote differently. Like, this is because this is the last time we're using Ducko's emotes, so...
Yeah.
I have them... This is the last time I had to fucking change them, which was always the biggest pain in my ass when I was editing these.
It does seem kind of unfun to do this.
It's like, oh, okay, now that I've put all the footage there and put all the barriers together, let's change their faces according to what they're saying, okay?
That does sound fair. I remember in the Stretch Royale, there are a lot of points where the expressions just don't change. I'm like, I can tell that you just could not be
Stretch Royale is my laziest editing. Definitely. I especially didn't want to edit for Plastic Man. I was like, I don't even read comics. What am I going to do?
To be fair, all that was consistently brought up for Plastic Man was that he could stretch well, which you needed like 2 pieces of footage for, and that he's a pervert, which you needed like 2 pieces of footage for. So just keep on spamming them.
I also, we already missed it, but you fucking say you do the Bazinga joke when you reveal Sheldon wins, which I think is funny, show you got converted.
I do say Bazinga in this episode.
You were converted to the side of Sheldon because you got to do the Bazinga now.
I remember I had like this really elongated like a bunch of hoops to jump through to get to like this one.
Yeah,
joke.
and then I have like I'm going like, dude, man, a lot of hoops to do that reference.
It's one of my favorite moments.
It's fun.
Reference. Yeah.
I think this verdict is also pretty solid.
So I don't think Moss will be more skilled at shooting opponents down by that.
We've only done 2 episodes where it's just us, right?
Yeah, we've only done. We gotta do more. I really like our episodes together. We did actually have a part 1 like done for. We had it prepared for Halloween. It was for the Sanderson sisters from Hocus Pocus versus Kiki from Kiki's Delivery Service, but that got canceled for a multitude of reasons. I don't really want to get into it, I guess, because that might go on for a bit. But it was not the Halloween episode, and that episode is lost to the sands of time, in that it's privated, and I still have it.
Lost to the Sanderson sisters of time.
The Sanderson sisters of time. I hope later, though, I do want to use the Sandersons for a Halloween special, but it's really hard to figure that out. Doing timed Galaxy Grudge matches are always hard.
Here it is, the ending.
Oh yeah!
I'm so glad I was able to work this in. Just the fact that everything that's made in Britain in the IT crowd randomly catches fire.
Oh, I like this part. They have their guns! They have their guns! Just shoot him!
So stupid.
Hubert pisses himself.
Yeah, I'm really happy with this episode.
This
if I
was
could
a
go,
fun episode.
I think there's only one thing I would change about it. That's maybe I would make the comment readings a bit more lively. But other than that, like I genuinely don't have any problems with it. I think we did a really good job with it.
There's my Sheldon.
There's
It's just logic.
And there's my Moss.
We had just like these static images of them both for when they're talking.
Just the most stocky of stock images.
I like Mario and Luigi Dream Team. I remember you kept bringing up that episode with the Xbox and the PlayStation 4 when we were making it.
It's because it's one of the only episodes I'd watched.
Oh boy. So what is the last things we should say before we leave here?
Well, I think I've said my opinion on it. I'm just
We hope we can do some more of these commentaries. Eventually, we should do the Elmerson News, but I think we should get some more hosts later for like me and Brandon episodes, me Ducko. Maybe we can all do the Teacher Royale.
Here's my Mortal Kombat vs. Cuphead trailer. I'm very happy with this one.
Daffy Duck, he had a
Probably. This isn't the fastest trailer I've made, but it is the fastest trailer that's been on the Galaxy Video channel.
Yeah, this is a very fast trailer. I like it.
I remember it hurt your eyes when you first watched it.
Yes, it hurt my eyes.
Like you just woke up.
Alright, well, thank you all for watching this. We hope to see you in another video.
This was fun.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bazinga.